Your next assignment is a working annotated bibliography. And that's simply a list of sources that you're going to consult for your research paper. So a working annotated. Now, some research papers require as many as 10 or 15 sources. Your research paper will simply be a documented essay. So your research paper will still be around 500 to perhaps 750 words. Therefore, I am only requiring you to have 3 sources. So when you list the sources on your annotated bibliography, you are to list 3 total sources in your working bibliography. Now, the final copy of your annotated bibliography will be turned in with your research paper, and that will be called your Works Cited page. Now, at least one of these sources that will be on your annotated bibliography should come from the textbook. So you are to use at least one of the articles from the textbook. The other articles will come from the Alabama Virtual Library, where you will use databases where you can find articles that have been written by scholars. Therefore, they have been they're already considered credible sources. You want to stay from websites that end in .com. So in your Blackboard shell, click on Library Sources, and you can access the Alabama Virtual Library that way. Now, keep in mind, some of your sources may change as you continue to do research. So when it's time to write the research paper, you may discover that you found better sources than the ones listed on your annotated bibliography. The purpose of this assignment is for you to consider these sources and evaluate them to see if they are good sources that will support your thesis statement. So what is the purpose of doing an annotated bibliography? Well, it's an excellent way to prepare for your research project or your research paper or documented essay in this case. So what you're doing, you're collecting sources for a bibliography and it's useful in that when you have to annotate or write annotations, that forces you to read each article very carefully. And after you read the article, then you will decide if this information is something that's useful and that you can use in your research paper. So you'll begin to read critically instead of just collecting information. Sometimes we will collect several sources only to discover that some of the information is repetitive or that we can't use the information at all in our research papers. So this will help you when preparing to write the research paper. Now, your research paper will be an argumentative essay, and the purpose of your research is you're going to state your thesis statement, and the body of your research paper will support your thesis statement. Whether you are arguing for something, if you're arguing against something, maybe you're arguing for a specific change about something. But a very important part of the research is developing a thesis that's debatable, it's interesting, and it's current. And hopefully you'll find the topics that I have listed on your assignment sheet interesting. They are current topics, and I am hopeful that you'll find lots of information on these topics. Now, writing an annotated bibliography will help you gain a good perspective on what is being said about your topic. You may perhaps start out in support of something only to discover after reading information from your sources that maybe you're actually against that particular idea or proposal. But by reading and responding to a variety of sources on your topic, you'll start to see what the issues are, what people are arguing about, and then you'll be able to develop your own point of view or thesis statements. and then you will find information, of course, that will support that thesis statement in your sources. Now, here are some terms I need you to consider when researching your sources. And one is biases, and that's a preference or inclination that inhibits impartial judgment. So when you're looking at your sources, you want to always consider who the author is. Sometimes sources from certain organizations are biased. So you want to make sure of the next term, which is credibility. And that's all about the author. That's why you need to be very careful when selecting your sources. So you want to stay away from reference books, such as encyclopedias. Reference books are simply informative. They just give you general information. So once again, I want to steer you toward the AVL and using the databases so that you can find some credible sources. And also, is the source relevant in regards to your topic in your other sources? Is this information going to support the position you've taken on this particular issue? And so hopefully by doing this, you will find 3 good sources that you will be able to use when it's time to write your research paper. I'm going to provide you with a sample MLA formatted annotated bibliography. However, your reference book, your writer's reference book or handbook, is an excellent resource to help you with this writing assignment. So please review section R3E in your writer's reference. There's a section in this particular area of the text on how to construct an annotated bibliography. And this information can be found on pages 386 through 389 of your writer's reference if you are using the 8th edition of the Hacker. So make sure you pay close attention to this section in your writer's reference, as well as the sample annotated bibliography I'm going to post. There are notes in the margin that should help you on the sample annotated bibliography I will be posting.